Hello, welcome back. So we're doing a pickup system. So now that we made the actual, a power-up system. So now that we actually made the pickup, then it's time to actually start making the power-up system. So we're gonna make some sort of base class, and then the one layer of derivatives. And we decided we wanted to make that in some kind of unreal way through U object or something. We actually are gonna use the objects, and let's just do it, and then I'll go about explaining kind of what an U object is. So let's just start writing it, and then I'll explain as we go. So I'll do make some new files. Whoops, I don't want to make it rich. I'm very poor. So we'll do raise power up. That's gonna be the base class then. There we go. So now we have two files, raise power up and raise power up.cpp and header. Gonna fuck that up. So I'll just go ahead and generate Visual Studio project files.
Wait, what did you just do?
I made I made two files in the power up folder. Raise power up.h and raise power up.cpp. And then I just regenerated Visual Studio project files. So now we should be able to reload. Okay. Yeah, so in our Solution Explorer, here in Power Up, now we have these two files here. So that's great. So I'm just gonna prog my once. And then we're gonna make a class that looks something like this. We're gonna make U raise power up inherits from U object. So we still have to write this generated body stuff and U class in front, and then I'll include core minimal here. So we get the object, U object, and then I'll include raise power up generated h. There we go. So here is our power up class.
Were we gonna make it abstract?
We were gonna make it abstract. We can do that in a little bit.
Okay.
So, what's an U object? Let's actually start up the engine. So a U object is essentially as low as you can go when it comes to the Unreal Engine ecosystem. When it comes to their garbage collection, when it comes to their reflection is the word I was looking for, and stuff like that. So U object is sort of the base class for all of that, so that we can interact with the editor, we can interact with blueprints, and it sort of hooks it up to all of that stuff. So it's the most minimal class that is recognized by the Unreal editor and Unreal Engine. That doesn't mean, of course, we have to do this. Like, I would say a majority of the engine is not written with U objects. It's written with just pure C++. There's nothing inherently wrong with doing pure C++. In fact, stuff like the UI. All of the UI, all the buttons and everything uses a custom system named Slate. So Slate is sort of the UI system that Unreal uses, and that's just written pure C++. It is its own, very own ecosystem. It's not using U objects at all. So if you want to do like add UI to the editor, add some windows or add stuff like that, you're not going to be working with U objects, you're going to be working with Slate. And you might think like, oh, but if I make a widget, like if I go in here and we haven't really talked that much about widgets, but like here I can make a widget blueprint, and it's a blueprint. So I can add buttons and image and whatever. So this is like blueprint, and I can code in blueprint. And doesn't that mean that, you know, the UI is made using U objects or something? And it's actually not true. So they have sort of a U object interface. So if you go into code, you will actually kind of find two files. You'll find like a U object button. There's like a button, the button widget as a U object. And then you'll find the button as a Slate object. And the U object versions just sort of convert back to Slate. So when you actually compile this blueprint, boom, it will actually convert all of these buttons and sliders and everything you add into sort of Slate widgets. So it will convert them under the hood into this pure C++ class. So by no means does that mean that U object is the thing to use in Unreal. When it comes to stuff like asset references or blueprinting or just making games in general that you want to interface with the editor, then U objects are the way. So everything from materials, components, actors, levels even, cameras, like all of that is somewhere down the line inherits from U object. Because you're supposed to place it in the level, it's supposed to interact with other things. So, as far as the game goes, and as far as like the editor goes, UObject is the base class. So that means we don't get anything like begin play. We don't get anything like tick or anything like that. It's a very slimmed down version of that stuff. It does have a lot of functions, like of course if we go to this, like, you know, it is huge. So like of course there are a lot of functions that we can use. But they're not the typical gameplay type of functions. They're more like, you know, is assets, like is this object an asset or something in the level or something that spawn is selected, blah blah blah. We have some serializing functions here. If you want to save this object and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. Find function for the reflection and stuff like that. And you can even see like the function. So the object describing the function is a U object because it starts with a U. So even the reflection system is written using U objects. It's quite interesting. Okay. So since we want the power-ups to kind of exist in abstract, like they're not gonna be like an actor, like we attach an actor to the player or something. We're gonna more have like as a concept, like you have this power-up equipped, right? And then we might draw like some UI or something to draw like which power-up you have equipped. But it doesn't really make sense to have the power-up like have a position in the world. That doesn't really make any sense. Like there's no real reason that maybe if we shoot a gun or something, but then that should more be in the gun shooting system rather than the power-up system itself. So that's why I think it makes sense to make them U objects. And it's also just good to practice what U objects are and how to make them. Right. Okay. So that's a U object. So, let's add some functions that kind of make sense. So one function we might add would be like on power up activated. Let's make that virtual. Something like that. So that would be a function that's called when we hit the power up activate button on the car. So the space bar or something. And then we will override that to sort of make whatever should happen. And now I don't think we can actually make actual pure functions in U objects. I believe we can't do that. No, we can't. Yeah, so we can't make actual pure functions like this. We have to make them kind of like that. But there are other ways to make the class abstract, as we'll see. So let's just make it an empty function. Right. So what if we want to make a specific power up then? Let's say we want to make it in Blueprint, right? So like Sahil said yesterday, to make a U object actually able to be overridden in Blueprint, or inherited from in Blueprint, we have to write this blueprintable in the U class. And that will mark it as a class that can actually be inherited from in Blueprint. So let's try it.
Not blueprintable. Does that do anything specific? Like, does that make any difference from just leaving the parentheses blank?
Parentheses blank.
Yeah, like U class. Like sorry, the with blueprintable there was also one called non-blueprintable or unblueprintable. Does that make any difference from just leaving the parentheses empty?
I think if you put not blueprintable, so in case we make an actor, right? So we make an actor, which is by default blueprintable. If we say like this actor, we don't actually want this to be overridden in Blueprint. We only want to use it in C++. Then you will put the not blueprintable in the U class.
Okay.
To sort of override that. So let's see here. So if I make a blueprint class in the power up folder, let's see if we can actually find this power up then. And there it is. So now we can actually override, or not override, we can inherit from this raise power up in Blueprints. Isn't that neat? So let's do that. So I'll call it BP test power up. Let's begin there. So they look a little bit different when you're inheriting from a U object versus a actor. So with an actor, we have stuff like a viewport, you know, we have construction scripts, like we have so much stuff here that we can do, we have components. But of course, an U object is a lot more scaled down than that. It doesn't actually have anything like this. You can add components to a U object. All you can do really is just code. You can just put code in Blueprints. You can add variables and functions and stuff, but that's about it. So it's a very scaled down actor.
Does actor in the long run inherit from like U object deep down?
Yes. Yes. So great. So of course we want to make that unactivated, overridable in Blueprint, so we can put some functionality in there. So just like with the actor, all I'm gonna do is put a view function and then mark it as Blueprint implementable event. And then we don't have a body at all, we just put a semicolon for Blueprint implementable events. I didn't save it. Whoops. So let's override it again. Power up. Call it BP test power up. Whoops. Make sure to save it this time. So now that we made it a blueprint implementable event, we should find here on activated. Yes, on power up activated. So now we have an event in here that we can hook up to. And of course, I can't find begin play and I can't find tick. So those events are tied to the actor or the actor component. So those are not functions of the U object, those are functions of the actor. And of course, since we're not using an actor, those functions aren't there. So if we wanted to make our own sort of begin play stuff, we'd have to implement that ourselves. So we might add like an on power up equipped or something. So let's just do something testy. I'll use print. Let's print. I'm not sure why this didn't get set to this, but okay. String will be test power up. I'm not sure if we have to fill this in. I'll explain it in a little bit. I just want to see if it works without plugging anything in. Alright, so we're just gonna print test power out. Let's make it a color actually. Let's make it red. Alright. So okay, so now we have our class here. We have our BP test power up. So how do we use it then? Like how do we make a power up? And like I can't drag it into the level. Like it can't exist in a level. It's not an actor. So what do we do? Well, so let's try this then. So I'm gonna go into the car. So go into race car. And then I'm just gonna add a U property. I'll make it edit anywhere. Of just a U race power up pointer power up. So I'm just making a pointer to a U race power up as a U property, and I mark it as edit anywhere. And can I forward declare it actually? I think I can. Let's try. All right. So I'm just adding a pointer to a race power up as the as a property there. Let's see what happens. Okay. So if I go into the car now, scroll down a little bit, we should have it here. Here's race car. This is the default category for U properties if we don't specify a difference. So we have race car here, and then we have our power up property here. And you can see it sort of looks like a asset thing. But if I go in here, I can't select anything. Like it doesn't matter what I do, I can't select it. And just like Sahil said, if you have a pointer to any U object that is not a few specific, like an actor or something, like if it's some U object, it's gonna assume that this is some type of asset. So if you have like U material or U mesh, U static mesh or something like that, it's gonna assume like, okay, this is supposed to be some sort of asset. Unfortunately, our race power up isn't actually made as an asset. It's a little bit confusing, like what's the difference between an asset and, you know, we used a blueprint class. But there's a specific type of U object that is marked as like, this is an asset. Like I'm making a power up asset rather than just a class. This is more that we're defining a type of class and not actually an asset in that way. If we wanted to select it as an asset, it would more like we would have like the U blueprint class here. We would have that as a property and we'll select like a type of blueprint class. So this doesn't work. So what we have to do is that we have to do very similar to what we did in our test project. We actually have to make it a T subclass of. So now we're saying don't select an asset, a U raised powered asset, which doesn't really exist in this case. It wouldn't make sense to make them assets either. Instead, we're saying select a particular class that inherits from U raised power up. It's actually not what I expected to happen. I thought we would be able to select it if we had a U raised power up asterisk. So it was something new to me. So now if I scroll down in car, now we can see raise car, power up, and now I can actually select some things here. So here are all the classes that inherit from raise power up, with also raise power up included there. So now we can select a specific class. And what's the point of that? Like, what does this do? And we do this so that we can instantiate this class. So that we can actually make a U object of this particular class. Because that's the thing with U objects, you can't place them in the level, you can't have them, well, okay, except for some cases, you can't have them like sort of just be there at start. You have to make them. You have to new them. Just like you spawn actors, but instead of spawning actors, we're gonna spawn U objects. So now we have the class we want to spawn. So let's head into our car. I'm gonna name it something else. I'll name it power up class. And we'll do on begin play. So I'll define begin play here. Of course, remember to call it super. Super duper. And on begin play, we are going to new this power up. And we do that using the new object function. So the new object function is kind of like spawn actor. In that, you know, it will hook it up. So we can't use like new like this, you know, like we can do like new U raise power up. Like we can't use this because Unreal needs to hook it up to its whole like garbage collection and blah blah blah, all of that stuff. It needs to hook that stuff up. So that's why we have to call this new object thingy. So there's a few different versions. If we look at the simplest one is just a templated function. So it just takes a T, so it will make a new object of that type. So we might do like new U raise power up. And then it has something called an outer here that we have to provide. And it's defaulted to some transient package, whatever that means. An outer is something that exists on every U object. Every U object has an outer. And it isn't really important to anything. Like in fact, like in our case, where we sort of newing things in our game, the outer doesn't really mean anything per se. It's more like kind of depending up to you what you want to use it for. But roughly it defines some sort of chain. So like the actor, or like the component will have its actor as an outer, and then the actor would have the world as its outer, and then the world might have something else as its outer. So it's a chain of ownership, right? It's the topmost object and then all the way down to the bottommost object. But but you don't have to use it. It's not really important for anything really. Generally, I like to just do whoever spawned the new object should put itself as its owner. Or its outer, sorry. So here we spawn a power-up, and then we set the car to be the power-up's outer. So it kind of makes sense. Like, okay, the outer is the thing that spawned it. So like, we own the power-up, so we set ourselves as its outer. But per se, it doesn't really mean much. Okay. Right. So this will be one way to new. So now we're newing this U-Raise power-up class. But of course, we want to use this subclass. Like, we don't want to spawn the base class. I mean, that's not... We're not even supposed to be able to spawn that. We want to spawn some derivative class, right? So we want to spawn maybe a BP class or something. So we want to use this power-up class. And if we look at the other if we look at the other versions of this function, we have this one. So here, new object T. So that it takes an out. Oh, excuse me. So that takes an outer. It takes a U class, which is good. So that provides it with a class to actually instantiate. And there's a bunch of other shit that we don't really all care about. Like, it takes like a name if we want to name the U object. Doesn't really make any sense in this case, and like, it's more for debugging more than anything. There's a flag, some templates if we want to copy another object, copy transients, blah blah blah. It's like a bunch of shit. We don't really care about any of this. The only thing we care about is the outer and the class. And to be fair, we don't really care about the outer either, but we do care about the class. So I'm going to put this for outer, and then I'm going to put our subclass as the class. So we're going to do power-up class. So now we still use this as a template, just like with actors. If we provide a template, that will make sure that this class that we provided actually inherits from this template. And the return value will be this template function, or this template class. So we actually get out of this a U-Raise power-up pointer, even though the actual class might be some derivative. So that's nice. It's nice. It's so good. So then we might save it, right? So we'll do U-Raise power-up pointer power-up. So this will be the actual pointer to the power-up. So this is like the class we're instantiating. This is temporary, like we'll replace this once we have the pickups going. And this is just to kind of get things working and seeing if it does work. And then we'll get rid of it. But now, and then we'll save that to a pointer. Will be a pointer to the actual power-up object. So power-up is equal to new object U-Raise power-up. So this is how you instantiate U objects with new object.
It's pretty confusing.
What feels confusing?
Like, I don't know.
Everything?
Everything.
That's
Sorry.
fine. That's fine. It's I understand completely that it's a bit confusing.
So, just like give me a short overview of the whole thing again. So
Yes.
we make the T subclass of the base. Oh, shit.
So this
I
T
can't-
subclass of, right? This will be a well, I don't want to say a pointer, but let's not use the word pointer. It will hold some class, whether it's a C++ class or a blueprint class, used anywhere really, that inherits from U-Raise power-up. So this can hold a reference to any class that inherits from U-raised power up. This doesn't really make sense in the C++ way. Like, you can't do some pointer to a class in C++ because it doesn't have any reflection. So this is one of the powers of Unreal Reflection, is that you can actually hold a pointer to a class as a variable. So it's not the pointer to the actual object, it's just the class. It's just like it's just the concept of some U-raised power up. And then we use that to instantiate the new power up. So then we pop in this class here, and that will actually make a new object of that particular class.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad you brought up. That was confusing. Thank you. So I can do another pass on it.
So the T subclass of the U-raised power up. The U-raised power up is basically the parent class.
Yes.
And then we call like a subclass from that parent class as the power up we want to get then.
Yes.
And
exactly.
then we make that the new object using the new object thing.
Yes, exactly.
And we specify the specific power up class by putting it in after the new object.
Yes, exactly. Very good.
Kind of fishy creating something with a class that is not specified though.
Yeah, so that's the power of the reflection, right? Like, you wouldn't be able to do this in just pure C++. It's just can't do that. Like, you have to, like when you allocate a class, you always have to specify kind of which class it is right away. So that's why it's quite nice to work with U objects, is that you get all of this reflection stuff for free. You can use a new object with any unspecified class. It might not even exist in C++. It might exist in Blueprint or somewhere else. You don't even know. You don't have to care. It can just do it. So that's quite nice. It's very sweet. Very sweet. Right. So now this U-raised power up should hold a pointer to some power up object of some class that we define, either in C++ or in Blueprint. Doesn't really matter. Something.
I don't know if this matters, but could you potentially make like do the same thing we're doing here, but you do T subclass of U object, and then later on you can make it like an actor or whatever.
Yes. Yes. So if you made that T subclass of U object, you could select anything, and like every U object class in the whole editor,
That's
and
flexible.
instantiate it. Yeah, very fishy. Don't do it. It will probably break, but you could do it. All right. So let's see what happens then. Oh yeah, let's add the button actually. Let's do that first. So I'll go into project settings, input, and I'll bind an action. And we want this to be like activate power up. So I'll do activate power up. I'll use spacebar. So I'm adding an action mapping. Again, an action mapping is just something that gets fired once when you click the button. So it's more of a button press, while an axis mapping is more continuous. So it could be any value, any floating point value, and it could change, multiple times. While an action mapping is just once. So that's when you just want to smash that space button, smash the subscribe button, then to activate the power up, it makes sense for it to be an action mapping. Cool. So make this as an action mapping. Then I'll shut down the engine. Just save that. Whoops. So let's bind it then. So I'll do input comp, bind action. So that's how you bind an action in C++. We have only bound axis. Axis. What is the plural of axis?
Axes,
Axes.
I think.
Axes. Okay, so we want to activate power up. That's the action we want to bind. And we'll bind that to a race car handle activate power up. And then we'll make that function. Handle activate power up. And that's just a simple void function, no parameters needed. It's just a flat function, which is quite nice. There we go. So when we click then, if we click handle activate power up, we want to activate the power up. So I'll call power up activate. What was the function called? On power up activated. Okay. On power up activated. There we go. Oh wait, we're not done here. Bind action actually. Oh, whoops. There's more to it. Sorry. My bad. I went a little bit fast there. So bind action, it takes the text to which action to bind. And then it actually takes this enum here, this e input event. And that is, well, let's just look at the enum actually, just to see what it looks like. Crap. Here. So here are the different input events that you can bind to for an action. You can bind when it's pressed. You can bind when it's released. When it's repeat, if you're doing text input, for example. Double click. No idea what that means. I'm guessing that's when you double click the mouse or something. Access, again, no idea what that does. I have only ever used these two. So, but yes, you can have a separate function be called when you press a key versus when you release a key, if you want to. So you have to specify which one of these you want to actually bind. In our case, we only care about pressed. We don't need a release function, so we'll just do pressed here and then leave it at that. So now when this action event, when its action input activate power up is pressed, then it will call this handle activate power up function. And then we can do stuff. Whoops. Use of undefined type U raise power up. Oh, whoops. Well, we have to include it then. So I'll just include, I think this will work. Crappa. We have to do FG raise. What? Oh, racing game. Whoops. Yeah, okay. So the include files for your project are specified from here, from the source folder. So if you need to include something, right now our race car is in the player folder, and the power up is in the power up folder, so they're in different folders, right? So I could do // slash power up slash race power up. So : means like if we're in here, right? If we're in racecar.cpp, : would mean go up one directory. So we're like, okay, go up one, then go into power up, and then race power up. So that's how we would refer to a file in a different folder. I'm not a big fan of this because if you change the folders, if you change this file, then the include will break. Like if you moved the player to some other folder or something, it would break. So I'm not a huge fan of this. So that's why I usually do a global include, where I go from the very root. And this is the root. So if you just specify some path, it will always start from here, or try to start from here. So it will go like, okay, FG racing game / power up / race power up. So you can either go relative or absolute. And now I'm going absolute because it's in a different folder. And if you're going absolute, then you're going from the source folder. Okay. Oh. New object called with a null pointer class object. Whoa. Yeah, so we didn't set this class. Whoops. My bad. So that's whack. So it's probably gonna crash, right? I don't know what I changed, but can you create aliases for different paths so you don't have to type like my game entity blah blah blah. Instead you type like bad guys poopers. Not that I know. And that's probably a good thing. I would say. All right, so I forgot to set the power up class. This property here. So we tried to instantiate a new object with no class, and then it's crashing. Then it's saying like, hey, you can't do that. So I'm just gonna go in and make sure to set this one. There, BP test power up. Okay, so now we should have instantiated it at begin play, and if I hit spacebar, then there we go, test power up. Ain't that something?
Wait, how did you fix that null pointer thing?
I just have to make sure to go to the actor in the level and assign the power up class to something.
Wait, so it's the editor that's throwing the null pointer, not the compiler?
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Or I mean, yeah, it is a C++ problem, but that's because we didn't set the class to anything. Yeah, I make Mario Kart in Unreal Engine in one day, guys. Subscribe. RTX enabled. Christer Freja Jocke. Who's Jocke? I don't know who that is.
It's a teacher that we had for C# in the beginning. Jocke Marklund. I think he works for Raw Fury now.
Oh, okay. Is he good?
Indie dev. Yeah, it was really good.
Is he handsome?
It's better looking than you.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. Okay.
You left yourself wide open.
Yeah, I walked right into that one.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
You know we love you, Emil.
Yeah, I know.
April Fools.
Love hurts, as they say. As my mom used to say. Whoops. Right. Okay, so here this happened. So I hit spacebar. This is so weird. I'm guessing it was compiled out. I don't really know, but I know. Okay, so the crash looks really weird. Wait, what? Wait, what actually went wrong here? I can't look at anything.
Did it work and suddenly crash, or did
Yeah,
you
when I
change
hit
something?
spacebar. Like, I expected it to crash, but this crash is super weird. I didn't expect this crash.
But didn't it work for a while?
It worked for a while. So I still think it's the same crash. I just think it corrupted something. I think something got fucked up, because the problem is. Yeah, okay, I kind of understand why I fucked up. Yeah. So I think the problem is that, remember that I told you in the very beginning to be careful.
I think it has to do with it not being a U property or something like that.
Oh, you're smart. Yes, exactly. Because I said be very careful with the garbage collector, because it can come at any moment when you're not looking. The garbage man will come and he will shoot you. So the problem right now, right, is that we're saving the power up as just a raw pointer. And U objects are reference counted, meaning that there has to be one U property or some other sort of shared pointer pointing to that U object, or it will be marked for destruction. So we could make this like a T shared object pointer if we wanted to, but since we can make it use the U property and then it will work exactly the same way, let's just make sure to make it a U property. So that now, when we actually assign this power up property, this U object won't be marked for destruction, since now there's something pointing to it. There is one reference count, so it won't be destroyed. So that's something you always have to be super, super, super careful with. Now, it took quite a long time, right? So, like, the garbage can take its time. So it might seem like it works for like a minute or two. But then after 2 minutes, it just breaks. Like, whenever Unreal decides to start collecting garbage, you know? So. Whenever you new your objects, make sure they're stored in either a U property, or if you can't make a U property, some sort of T shared object pointer. Oh, fucking hell. I forgot to set the class again. I will just do this and then take a break. Okay, so I'm assigning this. I'm gonna save this time, and then let's play. So now if I hit space, then we see, okay, test power up, it still works. We can actually force the garbage collector to go. If I go to, if I go to the output log, to the command here, the command console thingy, I can type gc.force garbage collect, force collect garbage every frame. So if I set that to 1, now it's gonna start collecting garbage every single frame. So we can use this to double check that, okay, it still works. I can still hit space and the power up works and nothing is crashing. So we have verified that we are, like, you know, safe from the garbage collector. We'll live another day.
Wait, how did you do that?
Went to the command line here. So in output log,
Yeah.
here's like a enter console command. And then I just wrote gc dot force collect garbage every frame space 1. So that will force Unreal to always collect garbage every frame, just to test out that the garbage collector won't come and get you after 2 minutes, right?
Whoa.
And of course, to turn it off, you can just put 0 instead. That's a great way for debugging if you think that the garbage collector is causing you issues, then you could try turning it on just to make sure. Cool. So there's the objects. How to override them in Blueprint, how to instantiate them. Babading, babadoom, babading, bing, ding, bing, ding, dong, 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 bing, bing, ding, bing, dong. Frap, frap, kitty, bing, boom, bap, frap, 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 baby. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so let's let's take a break. So let's take a 10-minute. So grab some snacks, and then we'll wrap this up.
Sweet.
Could you leave the code on the screen?
Yes. Fucking Daniel. Whoa. True. Okay, I'm gonna go
I'm not getting the overlap to work.
Oh, really? How so?
I don't know. I got a little behind when you were doing it, and I've been trying a bunch of settings, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't get.
Let's take a look. Could you share? By the way, if I want to change the name on my game and I do it in the folder, will everything get fucked up or can I do that? I believe it should just be... You should be able to just rename the... Actually, no. No, it's quite a big it's quite a big process of renaming it, actually. I would perhaps just make a new project and copy over the content and the source folder.
Yeah, don't start renaming stuff because that's just gonna
that's-
break everything.
Yeah, at least the project name and stuff like that is a little bit scary to rename. Okay, so let's go.
There's an option in like project settings called project name,
Oh,
but that's just blank. But so I don't know what that does.
oh, I think that's maybe
It
just
could
a
be
meta
like a, yeah.
meta thing then. All right, show me what you got, Greg.
I am, I think.
Yep.
Okay. So in the power up on the sphere, I got this,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not something else to do right here, right?
No, I think so. Okay.
In the car,
Yeah, looks okay. And it just doesn't trigger or what?
no. And I'm not sure if I got this right. Where were we? Well, the name was there, so I guess I got that right.
Yeah, race car is there.
The race car thing. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. How about here? Did I get something
You haven't
wrong
bound.
here?
You haven't bound the overlap function to the sphere.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta do like sphere on component begin overlap add dynamic.
On component begin overlap.
Yes. Dot add dynamic. And then it's yeah, this. And then the pointer to the handle overlap function. So you do like a raise power up pickup colon handle overlap. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Thanks.
No problem.
You said at the beginning that this was something like that the Sahil showed, but this is like the U object version of what he showed, which was pure C++, right? Or
No, he did like U objects, but he did like
Okay.
instanced U objects and stuff. And he told you about like blueprintable and that stuff. It was a different context, yes, it was, but his was more for like data and stuff. Like if you wanted to do like a struct, that was a little bit neater. While we're doing more functionality stuff.
no, okay, because it was very similar yet kind of different.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
My camera focus fucks up every once in a while, so I have to like grab the focus. It's super annoying. Man, if Daniel would have been here, he would have high-fived me. Alright, let's continue on. Let's finish off this lecture. Don't take a weekend. High five. So... So let's do... let's make the pickup work then. Alright then. So we want to make the pickup work. So that actually picks up everything. (41C) in Boden, Indian. Yeah, so we don't want to have this class on here that we just kind of instantiate on begin play, even though that's, you know, quite nice to start with a power up. Instead, we want to do it so like it's null pointed by default, and then as we go over a pickup, then we sort of gain a power up, right? That's kind of how we want to do it. So what I'm gonna do is that I am going to remove this power up class T subclass off. You've done well for us, but right now we don't need you. I'm gonna remove the new object. And I'm just gonna keep this pointer, right? I'm just gonna keep the U raise power up pointer. Okay.
What are we removing?
I removed the power up class property that I had.
Yeah.
So I removed that, and I removed the instantiation of it on begin play. Yeah, it's snowing like a fuck here. It's like looks like winter. Yes, to sum up the empty U property, it's so the GC won't remove it. Yes, exactly. So the U property isn't really hooked up to the editor, and like you can edit the value or anything. It's just a U property just because, so we get GC counting on it. Can you use T weak pointer or whatever too? Yes. It's not T weak pointer, it's actually T weak object pointer. But yeah, you can use that as well. So if you're making a system that's C++ only, so you are like you wanna reference a U object, it's something that is not itself a U object, so you can't use view property, then you would use stuff like T weak object pointer. I'm pretty sure there's also T shared object pointer. Strong object pointer. I'm pretty sure there is one, but I can't think of it right now. But I'm pretty sure there is one. I just don't remember the name. But yeah, so you can use that too. Okay, so what we want to do is that on pickup, so when the pickup thingy happens, then that will set this power up pointer to something. So then the pickup will instantiate a new power up and give that to the car. So let's fucking... Oh, whoops. Raise power up. I have so many files up. Just close this down. So let's do that then. So I'll go to raise power up pickup. Pickup. So I'm going to cast our other actor to a car. I will cast it to a race car. And since we were so fucking smart in our little brains that we set up the collision parameter so that this can only overlap with cars, it can't overlap with anything else, We don't even have to do any type checking here. We can just cast it and be confident that it will be a car. So then we can just go ahead and give them a power-up. Power-up equals new object. And of course, now we run into a problem where we don't have the class, right? So we actually have to set that on the power-up. So when I place a power pup in the world, when I place a power-up in the world, I will assign on that power-up which power-up it is. So I will say like, oh, I place a pickup, and it's a boost power-up, and then I place another pickup and say like, oh, you're a gun power-up or something. So I'll make a U property. U property. I'll make it an edit instance only. T subclass of U race power-up. There we go. So on the race power-up, I made an edit instance only property for which type of power-up is going to be picked up when you run into this. So then car power-up will be new object, U race power-up. I'm just writing essentially the same thing as I did before. So we'll set the car to be the outer. Since we're going to destroy in like a second, I'm putting the car as the outer, so that the outer chain actually makes sense. Because I believe, okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I haven't tested this, so I really should. I'm not the biggest expert on outer chains, but I think if you have something as an outer, and that outer gets destroyed, anything down the chain will also get destroyed. Man, you guys are tired today. So I'm gonna set the car as the outer. Power up class, that's the class we want to instantiate. So that's the class we want to give to the car. It's Friday. Man, imagine being in bed right now. Wouldn't that be fucking dope?
It would. Are you gonna like forward declare you raise power up in the header file?
I don't know, can I?
I don't know. I guess you should.
That's supposed to be like a teacher joke, but it didn't really land.
It did not really land.
Yeah, of course, yeah, they're very good.
It's a nice thought though.
Yes, a very nice thought. So yeah, of course we have to forward declare it here. Very good catch, Tove.
Thank you.
Backward declare it. And then I think since we're using it here, we have to instantiate it. Or sorry, since we're instantiating it, we have to include it. I think so. Let's just do it. Raise power up .h. I'm pretty sure we need to include it. I'm like 99% sure we have to include it here. So we'll give the para cover up, the car power up, and then we'll destroy. Let's go. What could fucking possibly go wrong? Uh-oh. Well, a race car doesn't exist, so of course we have to include that. So I will include FG racing game player race car. Yes, we do have to race car. Okay, so now if I click on the power up, I should be able to find guys are rascals. So now I should find in here. There it is. Raise power up pickup. So here we can specify which type of power up is granted by this pickup. And of course I'll select BP test power up. So now if I play, if I hit space without picking anything up, nothing should happen. That's great. So yeah, we crashed, of course, because go to the call stack. Oh, it does actually. Okay, that's why it crashed in such a weird place. Because it did. Yeah. Okay, that's why it crashed in such a weird place, because it did get optimized out. Yeah. Okay. So it's actually crashing here. Because of course we're calling this function, we're dereferencing this power up pointer, and we're not checking if it's null, so we're dereferencing a null pointer. So that's bad. So let's just check if it's null. If cringe, if power up, then power up on power activated.
Wait, what does the if power up? What does it like mean? That's weird syntax to me. It's just if it's not null.
Yes. So this is just if it's not null. I know my lead hated me when I did this.
Yeah.
And he explicitly did not allow this in AngelScript. Because he was like, just write this, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Why didn't you listen?
Because I'm cool and smart and awesome. And he's dumb and stinky. So now, if I hit spacebar, nothing happens. Because I have no power up equipped. But if I run over this guy... Okay, new object call with the nope. Okay, we have another problem, guys. I fucked up, okay. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just going to if check that as well. Defensive programming, here we go. So I'll just check if power up class, and it should be is valid. It's not valid? What the fuck? Let's check this out, guys. It's supposed to be an is valid. Have we removed that? Am I dumb?
Did you put the power up class in the power up under?
What?
Did you select the power up class on the power up pickup, the blueprint class?
No, that's what I forgot. Yeah, so I want to check if this is valid, but for some reason, okay, let's just get it and see if it's null pointer. There's a I was 90% sure there was like an is valid function on it, like this, so you could check if the class has been set to anything. But I guess we'll have to do this. We'll have to do get power up class get not equals null pointer. Ugly, oosh, blah. But alright, it's whatever has to be done has to be done. So now, if we actually have not set a class on this T subclass off, like it's just nothing, then we won't try to instantiate something that we shouldn't be allowed to. Yeah, everything's being recorded, unfortunately. So now, I should be able to neum this without it crashing. So let's try it. Neum. Okay, cool, it worked. Of course, we didn't get a pickup. We didn't get any power up because I haven't set anything. But at least it didn't crash, so that's good. So let's actually do something then. Let's actually put that power up on this damn thing. So I'm just going in and setting the property power up class to be our test power up. So now if I play and I hit space, nothing happens. But if I go neum on this, then now I can hit space and I'm using the power up.
Could you show that is valid thing again?
Here it is.
Can we look at raise power up pickup too?
Yep.
Up there.
So isn't that cool?
Pretty sweet.
My overlap is still not working.
What?
My overlap is still not working. We added the... We did the thing, but it's still not working.
Let's look at it. Did you recompile?
I don't know.
You don't know?
What do you mean?
Can you try restarting the editor?
Yeah, that was like an hour ago we did it, so I
Do it
restarted
again.
a bunch of times.
Try turning it off and back on again. Alphonse subclass is one word, so no big C. Oh, okay, you got it. Dude, you have headlights on your car?
Yeah, rear lights too.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
There's a... You kind of gotta go against here to see the red lights though.
That's so cool. Yeah, that doesn't seem good. Yeah, overlaps. Yeah, okay. I will say this. This is kind of the thing with Unreal's collision. It's super fucking picky. It's like there's a billion bools that you have to remember to check to make it work, and it will give you no hints of what those bools are. There's just random bools everywhere that you have to remember, that you have to check or not check, and I hate that. I remember the first class I had. Okay, I sorry, Gregor, I have to go on this tangent. I remember I remember the first class I had in Unreal in FG18 when I was like the new teacher. It was the first programming class. I was super nervous, and I was on the very first Unreal class. I was like, okay, let's do some overlaps, and it didn't work. I was like, and now we're gonna get an overlap event, and it didn't work. And I was just like, oh no. So I was just like, okay guys, let's take a break. And I was just like fucking like rubbing my hair, like fuck, what's going wrong? Which bool did I have to check in and fucking everything. So that was hard. Anyway, let's check your car.
Where the hell am I?
Yeah, just
There.
click your car, the pawn in the.
Okay.
Yeah, click the pawn in the level so we can see. You just make sure that those settings are matching up. So go to details. Check your deets.
What?
It's the left of the content browser in your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, what are the collision settings here then? So if we go down. So that's one of the bools there. You see like generate overlap events.
Oh yeah, that's what you were talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
one
There's
bool.
like a bunch of these.
Yeah, there's a
similar
bunch of those
names and-
shits everywhere. But that seems good to me. I don't see anything wrong here. So let's go to the power up pickup. Check that one. You just go click the one in the level, just so we can double check that the one in the level actually is correct.
And about that, if I like update something here, will this one be updated?
Yes, as long as you haven't overridden it in the instance.
Okay.
So that's why I want to make sure that it's
So
correct.
it's kind of all like maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, maybe,
Probably,
but maybe
not.
yeah.
Not.
It's like maybe you accidentally clicked something in the on the instance to change it.
Yeah.
Okay, so click the sphere. Yeah, I mean, it looks correct to me. I don't know, try on the collision enable there. Could you try going to collision enabled instead of query only? So query and physics. Yeah, try that. And play. Nope. Alright, what the fuck? So if you press
did you
this...
set the car as the right object type as well?
Yeah, it was the right object type.
I think so, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Press the box collision on the car. Yeah, it's race car. Could you put world dynamic as overlap in this one? Yeah, try now. Of course, now you'll crash against you'll go through walls and stuff. Let's just try it.
The screwed up steering.
No.
I'm not going through walls though.
Okay, could you do this when you're playing? So play the game. Play the game. Play the game. And then you shift F1. Then hover over the top, I think. In the viewport. Okay, wait, hold on. I have to find this button. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. Quit the game. And then you go to show. See the show button there. And then collision. So you can check the collision pool there. Yeah, and then play. Oh crap. Okay, never mind, that didn't work. Yeah, it's the I guess I mean it should cover everything, but oh yeah, okay, let's do this then. Stop. Uncheck that pool, the collision pool. And then go into the box collision on the car. Play the game, and then do uncheck hidden in game. You see it there on almost the bottom there. And then the same thing for the overlap pickup, or the pickup sphere. So select the sphere, and then uncheck hidden in game. So let's see here if something weird happens to the collision boxes. No, they're clearly... If you shift F1, I mean, I don't see how that possibly could not be overlapping, but do eject and just fly there and just make sure it's like they're properly inside of each other. It's kind of hard to see, but could you just go a little bit closer? I don't see the box. Yeah, that's inside of each other.
Yeah. This one's red and this one's light blue. Does that mean anything?
Not that I know. You know what? Make a new blueprint. Try that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try is making a new blueprint.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Do it right now. It goes fast. So I just wanna see. Just make like a new blueprint, add a cube, and just try it. Like, don't do anything fancy with it. Just add a cube.
Instead of the car.
No, the pickup. I mean,
the pickup. And should I still do the power up?
Yeah, power up.
Yeah.
Pickup power
Okay.
up. Or power up pickup. I mean, not the BP version. The code version.
The race.
Yes, that
That
one.
one.
Cool. I don't have a name it anything. Just yeah, exactly. Perfect. And head inside. Just like make the sphere bigger, not a cube. Yeah, perfect. All right.
And do we need to check these things?
Well, everything is overlap. But let's just try having everything as overlap and seeing if that does anything. You know what I think it could be? Try this. Quit the editor. Go into the project folder.
In like.
Wait, your handle overlap isn't U function.
No, it isn't. Visible anywhere? No, what do we need there?
Yeah, just U function is fine. But that's okay. That's why it doesn't work. Your handle overlap wasn't a U function. And I'm guessing, you know what? Since you're running the game and not debugging the game, like there is an error happening when you're trying to bind a function that's not a U function. But since you're not debugging, you're not seeing that error. So that's why it wasn't picked up.
Okay. So it's really better if I run it like without checkpoints, but
yeah, you just always run in debug mode.
Okay.
There's really no reason not to run in debug mode. Yeah.
Gone.
There we go. And if the probably other one works now as well, right? Yep.
And perfect.
All right, cool. That was it then.
Thanks.
Lesson of the day: run in debug mode. For you rider fans out there. Okay. All right, let's do something more and then we'll call it a day. Call it a weekend. Let's make it so you can see when you're holding a power-up. And that will be sort of the setup for when we have multiple power-ups, so we can see which one we have available. Of course, later on there will be like a widget and stuff, and at some point we'll do the widgets, but let's now just do it with like debug prints and shit. But so we want some way to be able to know if we're holding a pickup and if we are, if we're holding a power-up and if we are, which one it is. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head over to youtube.com/emilström and I'm gonna subscribe. And then I'm gonna head into racecard.cpp. And we want to go to tick, which we don't have right now, so I'll add a tick. Såklart grappen ska debugga. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna print if we have a power-up. So if power-up is not null pointer, then just get world, add on screen. No, sorry, not get world. G engine, add on screen debug message. So I'm gonna make the message as a different no, I'll just do a multi-line function call. Fuck it. Okay, so we have the key, which doesn't matter, so we'll do index none. time to display. We're gonna display this every frame, or like we're gonna call this every frame. So I'm just gonna do 0, which means like only display for one frame. But then of course the next frame we're gonna display it again. Display color. We're gonna make up some cool color. We'll do emerald. That sounds neat. Debug message. So here's kind of like, what do we put here? I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do power up get class. So get class will give us this U class pointer. So this is the reflection stuff that we talked about. So the U class will give us the reflection data for that one particular class. And then I'm just gonna do get name. Wait. Oh, okay, it does have a return. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna print out whatever the name of that class is. And we'll see how that looks. Then I want to scale it up a little bit, so I'm actually going to fill in these last two. Never on top is true by default. I have no idea what that is, but let's just put it true. And then a text scale, and I'm going to scale it up a little bit. So I'll do a vector to the 2. So scale it up. Let's do 4. Let's do huge text. So we scale the text by 4 there. So now on tick, if we have a power up, it should be printing to the screen what the name of that power up is. Let's see what we get, boys. Let's see what happens. Oh my god. Oh my, what's gonna happen? Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Nothing happened. Oh no. It didn't work.
Works for me.
It works for me. Okay, sorry. that was so childish. That's like kid.
Bless your heart, man.
Yeah, I'll work on my comebacks. Yeah. So why don't this work?
Is it because we don't have tick enabled?
Haha, David, you have an eye for ticking. So of course we have to enable it by primary actor tick, B can ever tick. It's true.
Wait, I don't have
It
that.
worked.
That worked for me.
Yeah, so the thing
Yeah, it
is
worked
that
for me too, but I don't have that.
the thing is that if you have dragged stuff into tick on in the blueprint, then blueprint will actually set this to true. So then in your blueprint override a class, their tick will be enabled, and that will enable like all the other ticks as well in the base class. But for me, I never activated tick. I never dragged anything into the tick function for my car, which means that I never activated tick through blueprint either. So it just never got activated. Well, it still doesn't work. Fuck my ass. Okay, so let's see what's going wrong then. So if power up.
How about super tick?
Wait, it's null pointer. See this? Power of the null pointer. Did I not set? Yeah, did I not set the power up? I'm actually stupid. I'm actually a big dum-dum.
Click the save current then.
Let's go! Yeah, baby! BP test power up C! Let's go!
Yay!
Alright, so now it's printing here the name. That's a fuck ugly color. Holy shit, that's the ugliest color I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, so now it's printing BP test power up C, which is the name of the class. It's kind of weird. Like, okay, BP test power up, I understand, because that's the name of the file, right? It's called BP underscore text power up, test power up, sorry. But then this underscore C doesn't really make any sense. And that's just compiled. That's just what that means. So it's very complicated why, but that's what the C means. It just means compiled. So it's the compiled class of this blueprint class. Neat. So let's make another power up just to test. So I'll add a new power up, and I'll override from raise power up, so the base class again. I will not override from any of the PP ones or any of the children. Of course, we want this to be a one layer inheritance, so we always override from the base class to raise power up. And I'll call this poo poo power up. And in this one, I'll just, by the way, if you want to find a list of all the events you can override, you can hover over functions here. There you have override, and here you will have all the functions that are available to override. So instead of remembering what the function was called, we could just go here and just click here to get the same thing. Kind of a neat way to figure out which functions you can use. And here I'm just gonna print something else. I'm just gonna print this power up stinks PP. Poo poo. Very mature. So now we have two power-ups. We have the test power-up and the poo-poo power-up. So let's do this. Let's make it like Mario Kart. Or I guess we can test this first. I guess we can test before we do that. Let's make two pickups. One having the test power-up and one having the poo-poo power-up. And let's see what happens. So I'll go pick up the test first. So now I've equipped the test power-up, and if I hit space, then it says test power-up. And then if I run over the other one, then we can see that our power-up changed to be poo-poo power-up. And when I hit space, it says the power-up stinks pee-pee poo-poo. So that works. But let's make it like Mario Kart, where a pickup doesn't guarantee one type of pickup, right? Or one type of power-up. It's kind of, you know, in Mario Kart where you run over one of these boxes, it goes like, and then you get like a random one. So let's do that instead. Let's do that quickly before we end it today. Or should we do it? Should we do it Monday? Let's have a vote. Everyone raise their hand who want to do it today, and everyone else.
Let's do it now.
Everyone else, I will vote to do it on Monday. Okay, no one's raising their hand, so I'm guessing that means you guys wanna give 3.
What do you mean 6 people are?
Oh, 6.
Come on, guys.
I'm guessing those people aren't even here. It's like dead accounts.
Do I count twice if I put it up in my camera as well? Like
yes,
this?
you do count twice. Okay, I have enough people to feel convinced that let's just do it now. Like, it won't take long, so why not? It'll take like 10 minutes. I don't even know why I put it up for a vote. I don't know why I thought this was some sort of democracy, when it clearly isn't. Like, all the times I've had my class vote on something, it's gone horribly wrong. So I should really learn from my lesson. It's just not let you guys vote on anything. So what I'm gonna do is that I want to make, instead of just one subclass of power up, instead I want to make it an array of power up classes, and then I'll choose one random from that array. And instead of edit instance, I'm actually gonna make this edit defaults only. So we're gonna do a T array of T subclass of U raise power up. Very easy to understand statement. The double templates. Let's go. Dude, there's not one dictatorship that has gone wrong in this world. That's my hot take. Very controversial take. Just instantly cancelled. Right. So that was a joke, by the way. I'm joking. So we have an array of T subclass of. So now we have an array of subclasses. Very scary.
You said we could only have 1 degree of children. This is wrong.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. About the inheritance of classes.
Yeah.
This is like 3 levels. Array of subclass of power up.
Yeah, well, that's not inheritance, bro. I know you're making
No.
a joke, but I'm still gonna find fucking well, actually, you. Still gonna put the kids in their place. Okay. So now, since I made it edit defaults only, I'm gonna hover into the power up pickup, the blueprint, into the class defaults, and here we can see now we have an array here of power up class. It's still called power up class. I should probably name it classes. Classisi. Okay, I misspelled something and it's recompile and start over.
I must have missed something while I was trying to make a joke.
Mm-hmm.
This is not compiling. Did you change anything other than making it a T array
No,
in the header?
I don't think so. What error are you getting?
What the?
What
Get
the?
is not a member? Oh,
And the lower that was commented out too.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, I commented out this. Yes, you're right. Sorry. Maybe. I didn't even say anything. I just did it. It was just pure muscle memory. Excuse me.
yeah, there.
Yeah, so I just commented out
teacher.
this while we may get this up and running. So.
That's what you get for trying to make jokes.
Yeah, that's true. I know that feeling. So now if I head up into the class defaults, now we have power up classes here. So it's an array, so we can add as many elements as we want. Like this, we can rearrange them. We can delete specific ones and so on. I would say the array editor is much better in Unreal than in Unity. The one in Unity sucks gigadick. So, fight me. But yeah, so here I want to add the test power up and I want to add the poo-poo power up. So I'm adding both into this array. Terra dick. That's such a... Yeah, the F stands for fuck. Haha. Get it? It's like a swear. Yeah, so we have a class array now in the defaults. F stands for fun. Never. So now when we actually pick up the power up, so when we ram into it, when we neum past it, then we want to give the player or give the car one random member of that class array. So we're gonna select one random class and then instantiate that. So what we're gonna do, so let's uncomment that and keep this, is that we want to select one random. So I'll do random index is equal to fmath rand range. Yeah, this one. So rand range will give us a random integer. Like there's a floating point version as well. But in this case, we want to have integers because we want to select a random index from the array here. So we have a min and max. So minimum will be 0, and the maximum will be power up classes num. So num is the length of the array, how many entries there are. Now I will pose a question. Wait, what did it say? Overloaded to distinguish from int32 version where passing a float is typically a mistake. Using Unreal Engine is a mistake. So here we'll see returns a random number greater or equal to min and smaller and equal to max. And what does that mean for us selecting an index?
Num -1.
Yes, exactly. Because num will be 2 in this case. We have 2 classes. But the biggest valid index will be 1. So we cannot actually go up to 2 because that will be an invalid index. So this lesser or equal to max means that if we do 0 to num, it will select any number from 0, 1, or 2. But we only want to be able to select 0 and 1, so we have to do -1 here. And then we'll select the class. I'm actually going to do auto here because I'm lazy. Power up class is equal to power up classes random index. And that should be it. Let's see if it works. Let's see, did I save that? I did not. Okay, so let's add them back. Test poo-poo, make sure to save. So I have the 2 classes here. And let's add a bunch of pickups. And let's see what happens. So I'm gonna go through one. And I got poo-poo. I'll go through another one. I got poo-poo again. I go through another one. I got poo-poo again. I go through another one. I got poo-poo again. So let's try that again. So I'll go through one. Poo-poo. 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 What the hell? Poo-poo. Test. Okay, so it did work. I just got insanely good luck somehow. So, okay, so I finally got test. So it was just super improbable. Dude, I should have fucking bet money on that. I should have bet like I'm gonna get 6 poo-poos in a row and won a lot of money. It's the gambler's fallacy right there. So,
can we see the code again?
Yeah. So now we're using arrays, which is something we haven't used yet. So I thought that was good to get us. Unfortunately, we made like such a hard array. Like we made an array of subclasses. Wasn't exactly the easiest array to get started with, but we made an array, so you can see that that works with U properties, just dandy and fine. Works just fine. And we managed to do something, so that's cool. So now we have our random pickup system.
Awesome.
So now on Monday we can do some actual gameplay with them instead of just printing random shit. We'll make them make a boost, then we'll make a shotgun or something, and I don't know, something like that. And then once we made a few, then we can start doing like counting laps or something if we want a racing game, doing checkpoints and stuff like that perhaps. Maybe respawning could be fun as well. Like dying and respawning. Could be fun.
Maybe we could do gravity.
Could do gravity. That sounds pretty boring. Yeah, we could do gravity. That's fun. There's a lot of things we could do. So look forward to that. All right. So that's it for today.
Thank you very much for today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you too as well. Is this right? If I turn my wheels left,
No, the
No,
steering
it's-
is wrong when
and I
you're
back,
backing.
yeah, I shouldn't be going this way, right? Okay, we have to fix that at some point because I'm.
Yeah, we should do that Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday
So
morning.
annoying.
I mean, you can just fix it now. I'm just gonna do this. No, let's not do it now. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's an easy fix. I just have been too lazy to fix it. All right. So yeah, look forward to Monday. We'll do something fun. But yeah, this was a very cerebral lesson, I would say. Usually in Unreal courses, they don't go through that much about U objects and how to set those up. But in the end, they are so incredibly powerful for stuff like this when you're gonna make some custom system like this where you need kind of to abstract away some functionality. And it makes just everything so much more simple. Like I wish I knew about this when I was doing my game projects, because when I was doing like abilities in like an ability game and stuff, I had to like spawn actors just to hold like the ability functionality, and it was super annoying, and I had to attach them somewhere. And I just kind of wish I knew about this because it was it would have been very nice. Man, Tove looks so fucking checked out.
I am exhausted.
Well, alright, let's take weekend. It's over. Is there any last questions before I go? Any parting words? Please stop. Is that a question?
Sorry for insulting you.
It's okay. It was all in good fun. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'll go through everything real quick. No. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. And I love you. I really do. You're all beautiful and you're amazing people. So thank you for coming. Bye-bye.